Hello, and welcome to the Norn Iron podcast with your host, Lily Busby. On this episode, we are joined by Joyce Law from Plot Twist Craftivism. Craftivism is the practice of participating in arts and crafts as a means of activism. But Joyce, would you like to tell us more about what you do?
So Plot Twist Craftivism is a local group based in Belfast. So we are a safe, inclusive and welcoming space for a community of like-minded feminists of all gender expressions to discuss social issues that matter to us and to them. So we can talk about issues like intersectional feminism, racism, and passion for creativity, anti-capitalism, mental health, climate change, caring about environment, the list goes on. So we basically, like you say, just say there, we use arts and craft as a means of self-care, self-empowerment and activism for social issues. And we utilize, upcycle, mend and use what we have at home or find in charity shops to help reduce waste and overconsumption, just with also the emphasis on using and sourcing materials mindfully that are also environmentally friendly.
And what inspired you to set this up?
I think a lot of the people were going to say lockdown, same as us. A lot of us felt a desperate need for human connection, solidarity for a cause, and the need to take action to make a difference. We all needed something to take away the sense of loneliness, helplessness, powerlessness. And what happened during lockdown is I joined a local community of sewists who made fabric face masks for key workers. And then also before lockdown, I led Craft the Noons. It's an art and crafts making group with the charity Max NI. They are a charity supporting young people who have a bad start in life. So that got moved online because of the COVID restrictions. So I was a volunteer there for many years as a befriender and a mentor for the young people. And my then key worker, Sharon Morrison, and her best friend, Pippa Gibb from England, they had shared trauma and they wanted to create a safe and a supporting space for women to discuss difficult topics like rape and sexual assault. So they started an online group in 2020 called the Plot Twist Film Club, just to use it as a social platform to also highlight and discuss feminist issues. And then later on, then we have another member called Janine Cousins, who's created her own book club in the Plot Twist community. So she used books as a starting point for feminist discussions. And then that kind of later led to me and my best friend from uni, Kat, who was also a member of the both film and book club. We saw the potential and a need for an exclusive group for craft enthusiasts. So we started to create our own craftivism group then in October 2020.
And what do you often do when you meet up?
Our craftivism sessions are kind of online. We do it every month with members across the UK. And at first it's mostly like friends of friends and it kind of slowly built from there. We're still kind of a small group, but when we also have like regular members, but people are welcome to dip in and out if they want. In the first year, we primarily focus on spotlighting marginalized female artists and creating arts and crafts inspired by their artwork and just using what people have at home. We did a mixture of like project-based sessions and themes based on polls that members had chosen, and then we kept it open to interpretation so the members can interpret it any way or form they like. We had looked at the life of Yaru Kusama. She was our first artist and we made sporty artwork and fabric pumpkins inspired by her. We did collages inspired by themes like body positivity, neutrality, a growth theme session where we experimented with leaf printing and discussed different types of growth. And we also did Masturbation May, where we made artwork inspired by vulvas and our experiences of pleasure. It's all like really intimate and radical to share these experiences. And many of us have shared similar experiences of poor sexual education and shame around our appearance. So we made paintings of our vulvas and some made clay sculptures and someone even made like a potato print vulva as well. So this also tied into the in-person lecture we had in the Belfast community. We attended kind of like a presentation about Sheena Legate. It's a very unknown Celtic vulva art figure, like in ancient times. And we kind of just discovered that we're all passionate about different arts like sewing and crochet. And one of the themes we always talk about and the topic that is very relevant to all of us is the fast fashion. It's a very complex issue and we're constantly learning from each other. We're all just sharing skills and knowledge and what we all like expert of or have knowledge of. Yeah, we can go on and on. We've done so much. You can see that on our Instagram Instagram. So yeah, it's a very member-led a group, so that there's so much we share and we talk about, and we have so much that we still want to learn from each other.
And what does a group like this mean to its members?
Our members will probably explain it better. Like, I hope this group gives members the opportunity and a safe space to be connected, be heard, be creative, have fun, explore and learn new things, be inspired, feel creative, supported, and most importantly, feel empowered, and just the freedom to join or be involved in any way they want or be able to commit.
And how important is crafting to your members as a way of getting their voices out?
Women and marginalized groups are the most underrepresented and ignored groups in our society. So crafting can be a good tool for them to take back that agency and control and use it to express whatever they struggle and confront with. Craft mediums are demoted by the art world. It's women's work, it's domestic and undervalued. So using it as a means of protest is really powerful. And we saw lots of examples of this in the Unravel exhibition at the Barbican, London, which a few of our members got to attend this summer. It was enlightening and very inspirational.
I know crafting seems to be a part of history, and I know you've attended a few events that sort of look at that.
Yeah, very, very important part of our history. You know, people, us as human beings, have always been crafting. We make tools and objects that are both functional and decorative. Before the Industrial Revolution, that's just over 300 years ago, everything was handmade. So it was made to last, well designed, looked after, and upcycled when it's worn out. You can see the quality and the integrity in the designs, you know, from what we see in the museums, their clothes and normal household items. Crafting is necessary and vital because things were not cheap or mass produced by machines or laborers back then. So they don't have the luxury to waste. They had to be resourceful, creative, sustainable, frugal, and connected with nature. It was their way of life because people had no choice. You know, they don't have the money, and many things like clothes, knowledge, and skills were passed down. And people rarely traveled back then, so they were tied to the place that they were born, and they stayed there for many generations. People were very connected to the land and reliant on nature, so there's a respectful balance of coexistence between human and nature. They follow the seasons, take what they need from nature and then put it back. So it's very different compared to today, where we're facing overpopulation, gross mass production, everything mixed in plastic, overconsumption, misinformation, connection and exploitation with nature and all living things. It's something that people today need to go back to and understand, you know, the truth, how the rich and the major corporations are destroying our fragile ecosystem, setting off mass extinction, pollution that harms all life, and we're furthering our own destruction with the climate emergency right now. And that, you know, today women in all genders can take back those skills, that lifestyle and that philosophy, and be part of that movement again, just to respect nature and have that balance with nature again.
And there's a lot of protest marches around the climate. Why have you chosen craftivism as a way to protest than other methods?
Crafting has changed the world, and it will change it again. So like suffragettes, they were making sashes, banners, rosettes at home, and we had people sewing face masks and scrubs during COVID. There's always a misconception that activism is always loud and confrontational. Crafting is a quiet activism, but quiet activism done together can make the biggest impact. An avalanche is made from many single snowflakes. Like, I always like that quote. I think craftivism is very important and is an alternative form of protest that you can do in the comfort of your own home. It is the most inclusive, accessible, and suitable for all ages, level of skills, mobility, capacity, and means. You know, everyone is capable of making something, especially if it's something that helps them express themselves and give them joy. You can use anything you can find and at home or outside, you know, in nature, and it can be created into anything you want when you set your mind to it. I just think that any kind of resistance and boycott against inequality, exploitation, fast fashion, capitalism, and climate change, big or small, can make a huge impact and positive change.
Craftivism is about finding that balance between creativity, self-care, and activism. How important is that?
Kat and I have always been mindful of keeping things as inclusive, accessible, chill, and flexible as possible. So we always encourage people to be as involved as they want, share and take part in whatever level they are comfortable with. We wanted to make sure that they were in a safe, friendly, and welcoming environment as much as possible without putting any demand, stress or pressure on people, because life is already stressful as it is. We feel craftism should be an escape while at the same time trying to inspire, empower, support each other in any way we can. It's hard to find time to be creative, so it's like a creative play date with like-minded people. As adults, we don't often have the bandwidth to play. Everything has to be professional, monetized to be worthwhile. So having a space to do art for the sake of it is a massive fuck you to capitalism.
And what's the key takeaway from this conversation?
This is hard to summarize. So I just hope more people will join the resistance and revolution in any way they can. Mending, sewing, fiber arts, they're all amazing skills and we should value them. Like, so if we all mend, upcycle, recycle, support locals and consume responsibly, this is already a radical act in the world of, gross overproduction and overconsumption. Adapt to act local, think global mindset. Keep learning, go out and connect with people. Be kind and be patient with yourself and others. We're in this together. Don't feel overwhelmed or feel guilty by the global problems. We're not alone, and anyone is welcome to get in touch with us to be involved or just connect or support other local communities that you want to be a part of, to take action, join the revolution, act for positive change and do what makes you happy. Make art and craft.
And is there anything you would like to say to the person who would prefer to go out marching and screaming out their cause?
I thank them for their bravery, courage, and just their passion. It's not for everyone, but I do admire people who do that, who stand up for their cause and also not afraid in the face of media villainizing protesters, and like society sometimes paint a very harsh picture of the protesters, how it inconvenienced them, how it disturbs the peace. But I think anyone who is making any effort to speaking the truth, to stand up to corruption and injustice of any kind, I think it's very, very brave.
And what are your plans for 2025?
We're still making plans for next year. Nothing's set in stone. So we're hoping to have a quarterly in-person craft meetups in Belfast, because the group is predominantly Belfast based. So we're going to base it around the 4 seasons, maybe starting from January next year, to celebrate nature, the changing of the seasons, and spotlight the Irish Celtic cultural significance of them. We might potentially collaborate with Sue from Tools of Solidarity to collectively crochet a lot of granny squares to make a sustainable piece of garment for the second-hand September fashion show next year. It was very successful, the one that just went past, so a few of us would like to take part in that, and then maybe another abroad getaway with members of the Plot Twist community, but not sure where. Because after lockdown we had a lot of in-person meeting, so a lot of us first time met locally in Belfast, and then afterwards we met up in Greece, London, Wales, and so it's just great that we're going to have our second in-person craft meeting next year and make it more of a regular thing.
I think it's so cool that you've reached Greece and Wales and all these places outside of this country.
Yeah, they were just because our community, we have people from the film club, book club, and then craft, and it's just nice for people of different backgrounds to kind of meet and get together and just have a bit of banter. It's hard to find a community of like-minded people and just somewhere where you feel safe and you can be yourself and just have fun.
Well, this has been such an interesting conversation. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I think just live mindfully and just live in the present, and I guess also just support one another. That's the most important thing. Everyone has different struggles in life, and I think being there for each other is very important and makes a big difference.
Well, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. Till next time, stay tuned and we'll talk later.